All right, we will have done 1 and 2 after the do now. So I'm going to leave those blank for now, but you have them on your paper, hopefully. All right, so we're going to work on equations where we have what's called variables, right, on both sides. What does that mean? There are variables on either side of the equals equation, equal sign. So right here, I have an equation with two sides, right? On the left side, I have 4x minus 2, and on the right side, I have 12x plus 14. So what that's essentially making true is that I have like terms, right? But the two variables that I have happen to be on opposite sides of the equation. So how do I deal with those? Well, when I have variables on opposite sides of the equation, I need to treat them like anything that's on the opposite side of the equation. I need to use the opposite in order to get it together. So if I have a 12x over here and I have a 4x over here, I can do one of two things. I can move the 12x over with the 4x by using the opposite of that term, or I can move the 4x over with the 12x by using the opposite of that term. I'm going to do it both ways so you guys can see it, and then you can choose which way you want to do it yourself. So most people typically choose to move things left because they just feel like that's more normal. So if you were choosing to move a 12x to the left side, you would have to use the opposite of 12x, which is a negative 12x. The whole term is moving, so I can't separate the 12 and the x. I want the x to move with it. So I'm going to use, this is a positive 12x, so I'm going to use a negative 12x, and I'm going to put it right under my 4x, right? Don't put it under the 2, because if you put it there, you might get confused. On the left side, these two cancel out, and I have 0 x's on the, on the right side, I have 0 x's, and I just have a 14 that I bring down. On the right side, I combine those, so 4 minus 12. Well, you might have trouble doing 4 minus 12, but I have 12 negatives and 4 positives, right? So I have more negatives than positives, so I end up with a negative 8x, right? And again, if you need your calculator, just do what you see in the problem. I see a 4 minus a 12, 4 minus 12, which gives me a negative 8, okay? So I get a negative 8x, and then I also still have a minus 2. So now I just have a two-step equation, right? From here, I need to move the 2, or the constant term, over with the other constant term. So I'm going to move plus 2 with plus 2. Okay, these two are going to give me 0, and I'll still have a negative 8x equals 14 plus 2, which gives me 16. And then I'm going to divide by my number with my x, which is a negative 8, right? I'm dividing by negative 8 because that is what's multiplied by x. And I'm going to divide by negative 8 on this side. And those two cancel because they give me 1, right? So a negative 8 divided by negative 8 is 1x. And I have 1x equals 16 divided by 8 is 2. So 16 divided by negative 8 is negative 2. And there you go. Now, right next to it, I'm going to do it the other way, okay? So no different. I'm going to get the same answer. I'm just going to move my variable the other way. So let's look real quick, and this is, again, not different. I just like to do it this way because then I keep the variable positive and I have fewer mistakes. So let's say I want to move this 4x over here. I would do a minus 4x, right? I would do a minus 4x. In that case, these ones cancel, and I get a negative 2 is equal to 12 minus 4, which gives me 8x plus 14. And then I'm going to move my positive 14 over with my negative 2 because I want my constants, or my numbers without variables, to be also together, and these cancel, and I get 8x on the right side is equal to negative 2 minus 14, which is 2 negatives, so I have a bigger negative, which equals negative 16. And then I'm going to divide by 8 because 8 is with my x, and 8 will cancel, and that will give me negative 16 divided by 8, which also gives me a negative 2. So you see that either way I did it, I get x equals negative 2 or negative 2 equals x. I just tend to try in my brain to keep the x term positive because I like it that way better, but it is not wrong to do it the other way, right? And of course I did this way first. So moving always to the left is one option. If you always want to move your x term to the left, that's fine. I'm going to pause it. I'm going to have you try the 2 you tries right over here. So you've got 2 examples to try, 1 and 2, and I will put the answers up and unpause in just a second. All right, so there you have it, right? Here's your u try on the left. The second one, right, would be x equals -4, right? I added 2 to both sides, add 2x to both sides. That's my first step. And on this one, I subtracted 2x from both sides. If you did it the other way and you subtracted 17x on this side, you still should have ended up with the same answer of a +1. Sometimes when students do that, they forget about the negative and they end up with a -1. So be careful. If you moved this way, you may have forgotten the negative. So those are your two answers there. What if I go in the look at some other examples that look just slightly different? Okay, so again, I have the same issue here. I have a number and a term with a constant and a term, right, with an x, and another constant and a term with an x. So the only difference is that in the ones above, the x term was on the left and then the constant was on the right here. There's nothing different that I'm doing here. I'm still going to move my variables to one side of the equation and my constants to the other side of the equation, whichever way you choose to go. So I see that the 3x is here and the 4x is here, right? So if I subtract 3 from 4, right, I'm still going to be positive. So I'm going to go that way. I'm going to subtract 3x. And I'm going to have a -12 on the left still. I just brought that down because I didn't use it. I brought down my 24, and I brought down my positive 1x, right? Because 4 minus 3 is 1, like 1x. And now I need to move my number that's by itself over with my other number that's by itself. This is a positive 24. So how do I move it? I use a -24 and a -24. Still have an x on the right side, and I have a -12 and a -24, which is a -36. And so -36 equals x. All right, again, two more examples on the right side I want you to try, and then I'll put up the answers in just a second. All right, so as you can see, I moved my variable of a -20 over on the left side because I knew that these positives would keep me with a positive x, okay? And the same thing here, I moved my -4 over on this side because I knew it was bigger than my -3, so it kept me with a positive x. But if you did it the other way, that's fine, right? If you moved your -3 by adding 3x over here, you would have had a -x, and at the end you would have divided by -1, which would still end with a -28. Okay, so you should end up with an x equals 1 and an x equals -28. So if you need to pause and look at those to double check your work, please do. Your assignment is in the Teams for the practice problems. Go ahead and go to the Teams and click on that link, and it should take you to your practice problems. So hopefully you'll get through these pretty easily, and then you can come take your check with me.